Hey everyone, it's Blake, and this is our first episode of our new WCW 1998 save. And as we discussed in the video we did, I guess it's been a week or two ago now, there were a lot of different options for adding another save to the channel here, and I am just I'm intrigued by all of them. Like I wish I could do every one of them because like I've mentioned before, I jump around all the time when it comes to kind of what type of wrestling I'm into at the moment. I think 1998. There's just a lot of intrigue with this. And then also, like I saw people mention other ones, like ECW in 1998. That would be fun to do to see if could you potentially get ECW to being the top company. That's intriguing to me. I also was very intrigued by the War of the Immortals, and I have a feeling I'll probably end up doing that one at some point, just because it is very, kind of wild to think about all the possibilities that you could have with a save like that. I know it's not for everyone, but I think it's kind of cool to think about the different possibilities with that. So that may be something that I do at some point in the future. And then there's just so many others. I mean, like the 80s. I mean, I've talked about, like, I've really been into the, kind of golden age of the late 80s, early 90s. I think doing a save somewhere in there would be a lot of fun. So we may just start adding different saves and see where they go. Obviously, I don't want to do too many. And as I said, the main focus on the channel is still going to be our WWE 2021 save, which at this point, recording this, I mean, we're 40-ish episodes plus into that. So that's still going to be the main focus each week. But I do like to have something to kind of mix it up and, jump around a little bit and be able to play around with some different ideas in different eras. So that brings us to the WCW 1998 save here. And we are running with Arnold Schwarzenegger here as our owner. That is the user character I picked. So we're going the owner route rather than the Booker route. So we are in control of everything with WCW, and there's a lot going on. Obviously, at this point in time in wrestling, and really this save. I mean, when you look at the data, the companies, and all that. I mean, it's really based around, and there's a lot of big companies, as we know. I mean, you kind of look at how this is structured. WWF is number one. We're number two. At sitting there right beside us is New Japan, CMLL. All Japan is in there. ECW small, and this is mostly going to be when you kind of look at the data for the save, it is mostly built around the top companies, which is perfectly fine with me because that's kind of what our focus is going to be. It's going to be mostly focused on the WCW versus WWF battle and all that. So that's going to be, I think, very entertaining to watch and see how that plays out with everything on that. All right, if we go into WCW and where things stand as we start in January of 1998, I mean, our overness is just incredible. 87 in the United States, our popularity in all of these. We're currently at big. To get to the next size, which is going to be large, we need to get 71 in all of Canada or Mexico. As you're going to see here, that's going to be pretty easy to do rather quickly. We just put Bret Hart in the main event, and we should be able to raise our popularity in Canada, I would think. Mexico, we're not quite there. Yeah, we're only at 46 in Mexico, so we're not going to get there. But I have a feeling we're going to get, moving to the large category here pretty soon because I think it'll just take running a show in Canada, putting on a good show there, Bret Hart in the main event. That should do the trick. So that's where we're at in terms of size with everything there. If we look at the state of the creative, our franchise players, only two in here at this moment. That is Sting and Hogan. Speaking of which, I do want to mention here, and when we talk about this save, and as I book this, it's kind of going to be the same way I did with the WWE one, where we're rather than just jumping into what is actually happening at that very moment in time, in reality, like it's more going to be if there is a history that I want to tell, like I will add it into the storyline, but otherwise. I don't have the reference point of being able to go back and watch everything in November or December of 97 and then jump into immediately picking up the first week of January. So I'm just going to basically, it's kind of a clean slate, and whatever, backstory we want to put in that happened before this point, that's what we'll do. I just think it makes it so much easier. And again, we're going to kind of carve our own path here rather than trying to follow exactly what happened, in January of 1998 based on, we will obviously bring up what happened at December 97 at Starrcade with Sting winning the title and all that, and Bret's here. So there's a lot of that will go into it. If we look at our next big things, obviously 6 here at the top. So Reese, I know he's part of the he was part of the flock. So he's in there. Alex Wright, Hector Garza, hot prospects. Oh, look who's at the top. We knew that was going to happen. It's a pretty good group though. If you look at the hot prospects here in '98, Ray, Six, Regal, the Giant, Silver King's in there. Best people on the mic is exactly who you would expect. I mean, realistically, you could potentially say like these are the 5 best of all time, and we've got them right here in the in our company. So that is something that's very fun to think about. The possibilities there with the ratings and such. Showstoppers, we got Savage, Sting, Flair, Kurt Hennig there, and Hogan, of course. Ring generals. I mean, this is a good group too. I mean, you talk about Flair, Hart, Sting, Hennig, Bobby Eaton. They're all there. You look at the momentum. Goldberg has the most momentum right now. This is kind of in that point where we will add sort of that backstory to Goldberg's streak and everything. That will come into play here in our save. We got DDP and Hogan, the Giant, Sting, of course, winning the title. He's got that momentum. Who's not? Well, Bret Hart, because we know we've talked about that before, sort of where Bret's momentum was after debuting in WCW, and really, I mean, aside from some ups and downs here, there just was never what it should have been. So we will try to do our best to see what we can do about that for Bret. Looking at the hidden gems, who's available? Let's see. We've got Tom Howard, Bam Bam, Sean Morley, Val Venus, of course, the Sandman. And so those are some of the options, but we'll dive deeper into seeing who is available because I have no idea off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are available that I'm just not thinking of. So that is a state of kind of where things look on that. As I mentioned, storylines-wise, you can kind of see the ones that are built into the data here in this one. It's got, the stuff going on with the flock and all of that. We've got Goldberg's streak. Everything that was kind of going on with Scott Hall and Larry Sabisco, I highly doubt that I will probably be continuing that one in any way. I'm just giving you the baseline of where things are in the data. As I said, a lot of this is probably going to change, but I'm just kind of giving you an idea. I mean, there was a Bret Hart, Ric Flair kind of situation. Don't know when, if exactly when we'll get to that. The NWO dissension and all that. So, again, those are just the ones built into it. I will probably go in a different direction and a lot of things just to kind of fit my own booking needs and everything. So that is at least worth noting there on that. If we look at some of the stables, I looked at this and I was like, my goodness, look how many people are in the NWO. How did this ever happen? I have no idea. But there will be some developments on that front sooner rather than later. I will tell you that. And we've got the flock here. With this group here, of course, Raven, Saturn, Hammer, Kidman, Lodi, Riggs, Sick Boy, all of them are still in there in the flock. So those are the stables there. If we look at our title situation, Ultimo Dragon, the Cruiserweight Champion, our title situation actually is pretty good. Like, that's one of the best things I like about where things are at in January of 98. We've got DDP as the U.S. Champion. Of course, Sting is the World Heavyweight Champion after beating Hogan at Starrcade. We've got the Steiners as the tag team champions. Then we've got Booker T as the TV champion. So really our championships are in a pretty good spot here. And that is at least something I'm excited about to be able to build on what our group is there of champions on that. All right. Now let's jump into some decisions because we're going to have to make some decisions here. I said previously when we looked at this a little bit, not as in depth in our other video trying to pick our next save, I looked at this schedule and I just said, hey, we're probably not going to be booking 3 shows a week because I just don't think that's going to be something I personally want to do. I think that I will be burnt out very quickly on this WCW 98 save if I do that because I'm already, booking 2 different shows in the WWE save and a pay-per-view every month. So that's basically like booking 3 shows if you think about it. Because they are 2 completely separate shows with the brand split in Raw and SmackDown. So that I just don't have any desire to book all 3 of these, Nitro, Thunder, and WCW Saturday Night. I am considering different options here. I don't know exactly. One thing actually before we jump into that, I do need to change real quick. It looks like Slamboree is set for April here. We are going to need to modify that to May because that is when Slamboree was. So that gives us a pay-per-view every month here. Now, I think, actually we're missing one somewhere. What are we missing? I think we're missing, there's no Halloween Havoc. Well, we need to add Halloween Havoc in there. All right, Halloween Havoc's in there. All right, now back to the previously scheduled programming. I don't know exactly yet what I'm going to do on this because I know I'm probably not going to do Saturday night. I know that it's necessary to have a B show, and like I get it, but I just don't. I'd rather anything I book, I'd rather just put it into the videos, and I don't know that. I think I'll be, kind of, or I guess vice. We could do Nitro and Saturday night, or we could do Nitro and Thunder and get rid of Saturday night, and get rid of Thunder in the Nitro Saturday night scenario. I think with how big this roster is, I think it's probably going to be necessary to have Nitro and Thunder as 2A shows, because what we also have to our advantage is that WWF only has Raw at this point. So they have one main show a week. We'll have two main shows a week. I can't decide. I want your suggestions on this. What do you think? Should we just do Nitro? And I just don't think Saturday night's going to be that appealing, because it's going to be a B show. Like, I just don't know how many of you guys are going to be interested in me doing an entire video on a B show. I probably don't have a lot of interest in that. So I think that's one of the drawbacks. But I guess it's probably down to, do we just do Nitro or do we do Nitro and Thunder? Because if we just do Nitro, I guess the issue is going to come in where, we're building to a pay-per-view every month. And if we only have 4 shows to do that, and you're trying to jam in a lot of stuff, I think that could be a problem. So probably the scenario is going to be Nitro and Thunder. I guess the difference is going to be that we don't necessarily have a brand split, so there's a lot more kind of wiggle room with flexibility what we can do there. So that may be actually the route we go. But we'll look at it and think about that before we actually start the save in the next episode. But we're not doing 3. I'm just telling you, I don't think that's probably what I'm going to do on that. So that is the event schedule. Oh, and by the way, I mean, if you look at our events here, January we'll have sold out, and it's your usual WCW monthly events here. We'll probably change this from WCW NWO. We're just going to change to WCW more than likely, which you see these, they're kind of all set as dormant just because they have different names down here. But that is something we'll probably change just to WCW. But that is just a personal preference on that. All right, now let's go to the big situation, which is the roster. And if we look at the state of our roster here, for starters, I'm going to just kind of group this based on star power, and we can kind of see the overview there. So obviously, major stars are Hogan and Sting. There is our top 2 right now. I mean, look at Hogan's overness. He's at 92. Sting's at 87. So that's kind of telling you that there. If we look at our stars, we've got Nash and Flair in that group. Nash is pretty over here, 76 there. Flair is still very over. Flair's still active wrestler, of course, at this point, 48. So we still got, hopefully, we'll see if there's any declining physical abilities or anything like that with Flair, but that's kind of where he's at. Well known. Yeah, pretty good group here. With Brett, Hennig, DDP, Dusty, I'm pretty sure just in a manager role. I don't think Dusty's wrestling. Elizabeth's in there. We got Mean Gene. Goldberg, as we said, is really starting to make the climb. We got Luger, Savage, Rude, I think, is just in a manager role. Yeah. Piper, still doing the occasional wrestling at this point. Hall, Scott Steiner, DiBiase also in a manager role. We need to get Ted a picture there. The Giant is there, and it's wild to think the Giant was only 25 in 1998. So that is, I mean, look at his stats here. I mean, come on. Like, the Giant is going to be probably a big part of what we do down the road for sure. So those are the well-known stars. Recognizable, it's probably a pretty big group here. Yeah, so we got people like Arn, who at this point, was not wrestling. I mean, we got Booker T, as we said. I mean, Buff's there. Benoit, Jericho. You can see Jericho's stats. Jericho's stats are very good. So Jericho will obviously play a big role. This is where we start to get into that cruiserweight division. You got Malenko. Eddie's here. You go up and down the line. There's just a lot of different guys. Conan. You've got just 6. Like we talked about. I mean, this is a pretty good group. Like I don't necessarily know you want to call a lot of these guys mid-carders, but if that is the mid-card, like, this is a pretty great mid-card, and this was one of the strengths of WCW at that time there. And so after that, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, we're probably going to be cutting some of these people. I think, obviously we're not going to cut the guys, like, we're not going to cut Ray, we're not going to cut, ones like that, La Parka, Liz Mark, we're going to keep a lot of the cruiserweights. And so that is something we are definitely going to do. But there's a lot of people in here I'll probably never use because I just want to kind of keep the roster a bit tight. And so we'll see what kind of moves we make and just kind of decide on that. But that is kind of where the roster's at there with everything, was just where the roster stands for WCW in 1998. I'm trying to think of what else we need to look at here. I guess we can kind of look at the state of where we're at. We have $15 million to start with, 75 prestige, 77% momentum. Greg Valentine, final month of his contract here, and we do need to upgrade the production department because I know that's going against WWF. And you kind of look at where everything's at and what they're doing. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade that now. This is let's see. So we're going to have to pretty much update that to industry leader. WWF will probably do something of that caliber. They'll continue to increase their stuff if they haven't already. But yeah, that's what we decided. Figurehead, I looked at this. Sting is our figurehead right now. And he's been it for 1 year because that entire storyline. And attendance up 4%, 10% more merch. So that's good. And really, all we have is it's probably Sting or Hogan is my guess. Yeah. So it's Sting or Hogan. But they also say, obviously, as we see here, Sting is overshadowed by Hogan. So Hogan is probably the best pick of the group, but we're not going to change that at this point. We're just going to leave it with a Stinger, and we will decide there of where we're going to go with that. If you look at the backstage situation, I mean, obviously, and you look at all the negative influences we have here, I mean, look, we can just keep going down the list here, and there's just still a lot of negative influences. So we'll see what that looks like. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot going on with that. So maybe we provide a masseuse. Maybe that will help out the locker room. I don't know. But yeah, there's going to be some issues when it comes to the locker room, and I think we've already pretty much established that. I think that'll be one of the most exciting parts of the save, is knowing that the locker room is going to be an absolute mess here in WCW at this point, just with all the all the egos. We got a lot to manage when it comes to the locker room. So that is something we will definitely have to look out for and to kind of see what we need to do on that. But there is kind of the landscape for our WCW 1998 save. Let's look at our competition real quick. The WWF, I know some of these pictures too, there will be some that I just had to kind of plug this Undertaker one in. I know he didn't look like that in 1998, but that's just one we had to plug in. So you can kind of see where the WWF is at. I mean, they're ranked at the top, and you can understand why with all these stars they have. You kind of look at, their size, they're at 84. So really, we are bigger from that standpoint, just in the United States at this point. But overall, they're still, I guess they're beating us elsewhere. So that's kind of where things stand with the WWF. And as I said, they do have they have Raw, and they've got Shotgun Saturday Night, which is a B show. So that's where I'm kind of going back and forth, like I said, on what to do with our TV in WCW, because I guess you could have an advantage doing 2 shows a week with that, but I don't know. I'll have to make a decision on that. And like I said, give me your thoughts on what you think. Should we just do Nitro? I mean, we can make it happen. I mean, our show is going to be pretty jam packed no matter what, because we got a lot of great talent on the roster. So I think that we will have it certainly be a little bit different, and that's what I wanted. I want this save to kind of be a little bit different than the one we have with the WWE 2021 save. So that's kind of the goal here. It's going to be different just because of the talent involved, but that is something I want to do. I want to try to make that a little bit different here. And if we look at our relationships too, WWF and ECW obviously still working together at this point. Currently, we're at war with WWF, so that is obviously we know that's the case. But yeah, so that's obviously our biggest challenge right now is just how do we hold off the WWF? Can we, kind of make that jump and outdraw them on Monday nights in the Monday Night War and Raw versus Nitro? We'll see. And we look at kind of some of the stuff here. When you look at kind of the stuff that's built in, can the WWF be beaten? Can they be knocked off as the number one company? Well, we're going to find out, because that is our goal here with this, and we'll see what happens. But that is sort of an introduction to the sort of game status here as we start January 1998 with WCW. And our first show will be Nitro, as I mentioned before. This will probably do 1 episode a week, maybe 2, if I just get some momentum going. We may do a couple a week, but that's just kind of where it's at, because I do want to keep the WWE 2021 save, kind of as our main focus. As we got a lot built up over there with that one, but this will kind of be just another one we do. I don't want to say casually because we're gonna put some good storylines into it. We're gonna make it entertaining, but there will probably be less episodes of this per week than there will be the WWF one. But I think it's gonna be fun. I think that there's a lot we can do, and whether it's Brett, Goldberg, the cruiserweights, all this stuff. There's a lot of intriguing aspects to WCW here. Oh, quickly, let's look at our product. This is our product here, as it's the classic sports entertainment. It's called the NWA Evolution. You can see it's 65-35 when it comes to TV shows, 40-60 on the in-ring versus popularity. So that is, kind of your standard product that you would expect from WCW at this time. So let me know what you think, and be sure to, as always, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and yeah, give me your feedback. What do you think about the schedule? What do you think? Should we do WCW Nitro and Thunder? Should we do some Nitro and Saturday night? Or should we do all three? I'm sorry, that's probably not an option. I just don't think that's a good idea. But I'm up to, suggestions on this because I think, as I said, it's not booking good shows is not going to be a problem. I think that it's the scheduling, and we don't want to get burnt out with doing a lot of shows just in this particular save. So that is what we'll do with WCW 1998. So let me know what you think, and we will have the next episode of this particular save coming up here soon. But for those of you who are maybe just jumping into this one and didn't even know that the WWE 2021 series existed, well, be sure to subscribe to the channel because that one is there. And as I said, we're about 40 plus episodes deep in that one at this point. So be sure to check that out. That is kind of the flagship here on the channel, but this is one that I think will also be very exciting to do. So on the next episode of this series, it will be our first edition of Nitro in January 1998.